She burst onto the scene in Storage Wars.
In Storage Wars, she blew up. She was tough, had a sharp tongue, and never gave up. But Brandi Passante's reality TV fame came with a personal life that fell apart in ways that fans never saw coming. A scary cyber attack, a court case with a revenge porn boss, and a breakup that got bad. No one really understood how bad things were for Brandi. After that, there were panic attacks, treatment, and time to wait. Of being famous and having 2 kids by herself. Her voice changed, she had less energy, and then she was gone for a while. What happened after the cameras stopped rolling? How did she get back? Keep listening to find out. She was born in Harris County, Texas in 1980. A lot of people know her from Storage Wars. Not everything about her life was perfect. Being around brothers all the time as a child means a lot of teasing, roughhousing, and cuts and bruises. To the point. She even joked that the black eye in a picture of her as a child was just part of her early training when she showed it to someone. Brandi has said that her childhood was rough and that she often felt like the odd one out in her own family. She even thought about whether she had been adopted sometimes. One thing was clear, though, she felt like she was meant for more, and she wasn't going to settle for less. She has been with her long-term partner Jared Scholes since 1999, when they both worked at a carpet cleaning business. Brandi was quick to say that Scholes was wrong when he joked that she was after him. Their relationship didn't start right away. Brandi even said it took her a while to get along with him. But Jared didn't give up. He might be too persistent at times. A friend of theirs even left notes on his truck to remember him to be nicer to Brandi, because he was being rude. Schultz later said that he didn't have good looks, so he used fun and charm to get by. In the end, their friendship grew, even though Jared was her boss at the time. Even though they never got married, they did raise 2 kids together, Cameron and Peyton. They have kept their kids out of the public eye for the most part, but Brandi has talked about the major health problems both of her kids had. Peyton was born without hearing and with a cleft soft lip. She had surgery on her ears when she was only 6 weeks old, and amazingly, it helped her hear. With time and speech therapy, she made amazing progress. Eventually, she joined the cheering squad, which gave her a huge confidence boost and helped her speak better. Cameron also went through hard times. Doctors found a mass on his kidney during a regular test for a urinary problem. After that, they spent a long time in the hospital. He missed some of high school because he had to spend 3 months at the Children's Hospital of Orange County. After their kids were born, Brandi took care of the kids while Jared tried his hand at the banking business. However, taking a break from work made her feel alone and very sad. She loved her kids, but she wanted to feel like she had a role in life other than being a mom. When the recession hit, Jared lost his job and any jobless benefits that came with it. Here was his chance. They had no other choice but to follow a tip from Jared's aunt, who ran a storage facility, and told them that units that had been left empty were sold at auction. They started bidding on lockers because they wanted to get cash for their fines. Soon, they had too much stuff to store. Brandi joked that they were almost ready to be on the show. Orders. It got so bad that the city told them they would be fined if they didn't clean it up. Because of that pressure, they opened a thrift store every once in a while, which, believe it or not, led to their big break on TV. Before their little thrift store did really well, Brandi and Jared were still going to storage unit sales and quickly became well known there. Sometime during one of those auctions, Jared met a TV director who was working on an idea for a new reality show. This idea would become Storage Wars. After some time, the same director came back, but this time with a group of cameramen. Sometimes they went to Brandi and Jared's store to shoot some test shots. By chance, Brandi was working the front desk that day, and the directors noticed her right away. Jared remembers that they asked her who she was, and if she would be willing to be on camera. It turned out that meeting for no reason was the start of something much bigger than either of them had imagined. The video that was shot at their store was used in the first episode of Storage Wars. No one could have known at the time that the show would be so popular. Brandi later said that all they were asked to do was be on camera for a short time. They didn't know what would happen. But when the show first aired in 2010, 2 million people watched. By 2012, that number had doubled. What started out as a small chance to get their used store noticed turned into a big deal for both Brandi and Jared on reality TV. Still, the fame made them feel different things. Brandi said that being in the spotlight all of a sudden was both a gift and a curse, and Jared said that they never really meant to be TV stars. Behind the scenes, they were under a lot of stress because they had to shoot, run their store, and raise their kids all at the same time. Brandi told him that being together 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, at work, at home, and on set was hard on their relationship. They had some heated arguments, but in the end they found a pattern. Jared joked that at least they could use the shared lane. He was always looking for the bright side. But fame had a bad side that neither of them saw coming. Brandi talked about how things changed after the show became popular on a podcast. All of a sudden, she started getting troubling letters from fans. Things got so bad that she had to move into a gated neighborhood to feel safe. It got worse from there. At times, her worry was so bad that she had to go to therapy just to deal with it. Having to balance all of that with being a mom added to the stress. Brandi had 2 kids, Cameron and Peyton, and had to balance long-shot days with being a parent. There was a time when she said that coming home late and getting up at 4 a.m. to do it all over again was the grind. He and she ran 2 shops and raised a family, while the Storage Wars show was at its peak. She called it overwhelming, at best. Even Jared agreed that Brandi was doing most of the parenting and running the business at the same time. The world of storage auctions is mostly guys, so Brandi had to be tough as one of the few women who worked there. Having rough housing boys as a kid helped. She quickly learned that anyone could use any sign of weakness against her. She got tough and stood her ground. She showed over time that she wasn't just a member of the group. She was strong on her own, no matter how strong she seemed. The digital storm that was about to hit her was too much for her to handle. As reported by The Hollywood Reporter in October 2012, Brandi Passante had sued Hunter Moore, the well-known founder of the revenge porn site Untold. Moore put up an adult movie and lied that it had Passante in it. Moore was blurring the lines between what was real and what was fake years before most people had even heard the term deep fake. He did this by using fake content to trick people who didn't know what was going on. Passante allegedly found the video after getting a lot of scary messages on Twitter's, now called Xers, from people talking about it. In her lawsuit, she said that the film not only hurt her reputation, but it also had a virus that could damage people's devices. She said that it had hurt her emotionally, mentally, and professionally, and that it had hurt her image. After the lawsuit became public, the adult entertainment network AVN asked Moore if he really wanted people to think the woman in the tape was Passante. They used examples of humor and parody being used in court cases in the past to cast doubt. At the same time, lawyers at Mallard Law Group said Passante had a case for copyright theft. Moore, on the other hand, might try to protect himself under the Digital Millennium Copyright Act. Passante asked for $2.5 million in damages, and even a summary ruling in her court papers, which would be used instead of a full trial if the information was in favor of one side. Moore, on the other hand, did not act professionally during the process. The New Yorker says that when he was served with the lawsuit, he reportedly sent Passante's lawyer a picture of male genitalia as a response. The judge did the right thing in the end, but it was a sad victory. Moore was told to pay only $750 instead of the multi-million-dollar award she was hoping for. Judge James Selner decided that there wasn't enough proof to support the full amount. The court did, however, issue an injunction that Moore could not use to share the pictures and movies again. There were also reports that Moore would probably have to pay Passante's legal bills. Passante's career was going in a different way at the same time. She and Jared Scholes got their own A&E show, Brandi and Jared, Married to the Job, in 2014. They were riding high on their success from Storage Wars. The show showed what they do when they're not at auctions. There were scenes of them having kids, running a business, and planning their 15th wedding together. But there were signs of real strain behind the jokes and fun times. Planning the wedding got a mess very quickly. Jared didn't seem very interested. He joked that he might hire a fake husband just to get it over with. When Brandi was dress shopping, he made her feel bad by telling her to stay on the sale rack, and she let her anger show on camera. Their relationship was beginning to fall apart, and it got worse from there. Brandi was very angry when Jared brought up the idea of putting a bar in the house. He thought it would be fun to teach their kids how to bet while they played pool. Brandi told the truth when she said that she sometimes felt like she wanted to suffer through life with someone until the end. The show was made to show how much they enjoyed arguing with each other, and A&E played up that crazy energy. Some people, like Storage Wars co-star Dave Hester, were skeptical and wondered if their scenes were staged. Jared even joked that their constant fights made their dysfunction seem a little more real. Brandi was clear, and it wasn't written down. In fact, she thought that writing would have made things worse, because neither she nor Jared knew how to act. People didn't like Brandi and Jared, married to the job, even though it showed what goes on behind the scenes and had a light-hearted sitcom-style vibe. After just one season, it was quietly off the air. The couple went back to the place where it all began. War Over Storage, the show that made them well known. Then they showed up on the Mystery Men show in 2017. Jared didn't think twice when the hosts asked what the craziest thing they'd ever found in a storage unit was. A few days before, they opened 5 old wooden boxes that they had bought at an auction. There was a strange white powder inside Ziploc bags. What did Jared think first? White stuff. He part joked, part hoped as he looked at Brandi. They thought they had just hit it big. But Brandi, who is always more grounded, saw something that made them stop. One of the boxes had a dog tag in it. That's when everything made sense. These weren't any drugs at all, they were pet ashes. 5 boxes full of dog bodies that have been burned. Jared was shocked. How many pets did these people have? Brandi said that the find made her sick at first, but then she felt guilty. They both knew what they needed to do. They turned the boxes in at the front desk, hoping that the owners would one day come back and get their beloved pets. It was a strange and serious moment. A quick change from being excited to caring. It got even stranger from there. The strain between Brandi and Jared was beginning to show up in real life. People had long thought that their frequent fighting was part of what made them cute on TV. By season 12 in 2018, though they had already broken up in a quiet way, out of the public eye, fans began to notice the signs in 2019. It looked like Brandi and Jared were no longer on each other's social media. Brandi was sharing more pictures of herself by herself, some of them in bikinis, and her engagement ring was no longer there. Then there were rumors that Jared had moved on and was dating a bartender named Rachel Beckman. She was said to work at the Rush Bar and Grill, which he had just bought a few months before. Brandi was also seen with other guys, but it never seemed like anything serious was going on. And then 2020 came along. Brandi, like everyone else, was caught up in the chaos of the pandemic. As California locked down, she kept things light on Instagram by sharing a picture of herself putting together her pantry, with a huge Maker's Mark bottle on it. However, things did not stay funny. In a video chat with the Dad Diary on June 28, she said she had tested positive for COVID-19. She was honest about her complaints, like how she was losing her taste buds and having headaches and stuffy noses every day. By day 12, she said she finally felt like herself again. By the middle of July, she was sharing pictures from casual events again, but the problems didn't end there. Brandi shared a touching ode to her dad on Instagram that October, along with an old picture of him holding her when she was a baby. Her words were honest and from the heart. As she thought about how he never yelled at her, she called herself a proud daddy girls. It was clear that the loss hurt a lot. Fans thought they had seen everything until she made the post that really shook the Storage Wars world. Brandi put up a picture for the new season of Storage Wars on Twitter in March 2021, and it made a lot of people talk. She put a devil emoji right over her ex-boyfriend Jared Schultz's face in the picture, which made it stand out. That brave move set the tone before the season even started. Brandi made it clear in an interview with Distractify that she was fine with being single, especially when it came to shooting. She sounded pumped up when she said she was more thrilled about this season than any other, especially since some of her friends were joining her. When the 2021 season came around after the pandemic, fans saw a group they knew. Regulars like Daryl Sheets, Kenny Crossley, Renee and Casey Nodzoda, Ivy Calvin, and even Barry Weiss made a surprise return to host the sale. Dan and Laura Dotson were also back on the mic. The big surprise, though, was that Brandi and Jared were both back, but not together. Brandi told everyone right away in episode 1 that they were breaking up. It was quickly confirmed by Jared, who also said that they would still go to sales but do their own thing from now on. It was easy to see that Brandi and Jared were having a bad time on TV. Brandi didn't hold back when she told Jared he was stupid after he spent $400 on a unit she thought was junk. For his part, Jared seemed to enjoy setting her off, and he even admitted that he'd probably bid against her just to see what would happen. The drama didn't just happen on the show, though. Things got very serious behind the scenes just a few weeks after the season aired in April 2021. TMZ says Brandi was at a bar in Orange County with friends when Jared showed up without ask. People who were there say the argument heated up quickly. It was said that things got physical after Brandi asked him to leave. Later, the police said Jared did push her twice. He was already gone when they got there, but a report had been made. When police called Jared back, he denied getting physical. His lawyer said he was ready to fight the charge and hoped the case would be thrown out. But different witnesses gave different versions. Some said he barely touched her, while others said he never got up. At the end of the day, Jared was charged with misdemeanor domestic violence attack. After that, he quietly stopped being in Storage Wars. The network never said for sure if he was actually fired, but he never showed up in another season. At the same time, Jared started going out with a new woman named Rachel Beckman. Brandi, on the other hand, started to talk more about how the split had made her feel. In an interview on Spirit Talk, she said that it had made her emotionally numb, but she started to understand things better after going to therapy. There was one lesson that really stuck with her. She wasn't broken, she was just shut down for a while. She said she was ready to love again, but only on her own terms. If there was one thing she wouldn't let happen, it was someone trying to control her. Later in 2021, Brandi posted something on Instagram that seemed very personal. A picture of her new tattoo on her middle finger, which is the word, free, next to a small bird. Even though she didn't say everything, the message was clear. In the text, she talked about getting away from something that was making her feel bad. One that, as she put it, not everyone makes it through. She put the number, free as a bird, next to it and talked about National Domestic Violence Awareness Month. This was a rare public look into a part of her life she hadn't talked about before. Even though she didn't say who it was clear what she meant. Brandi had been through a terrible thing, and now she was not only alive, but also stronger, more compassionate, and free. But just when things looked like they were getting better, something strange began to happen. After fans began to notice that something was off with Brandi Passante's voice during season 13 of Storage Wars in 2022, she took to Instagram to clear the air. Someone even sent her a message asking why her voice sounded so scratchy. Brandi did not hide anything. She took a picture of the message and posted it on her Instagram story, where she shared some very private news. She had been diagnosed with Hashimoto's disease. For people with Hashimoto's, an autoimmune disease that affects the thyroid, can cause tiredness, weight gain, and yes, a scratchy voice. The Mayo Clinic says that middle-aged women are most likely to have it. There is no cure for the problem, but treatments can help people live with it. But Brandi hasn't slowed down at all because of the sickness. Many of her fans think that her slightly raspy voice makes her more charming. Brandi kept working on Storage Wars even though she broke up with her long-term partner and co-star Jared Scholes. She didn't stop there, though. Also, she tried her hand at podcasts by being on an episode of Happening Now with Hammer. It began as a guest role but quickly turned into more. She became a co-host of the show. Like a true Brandi drinker, she kept things light and honest by making jokes about a recent night out and telling them exactly what she had been drinking. From dirty martinis to vodka sodas, she told people about her life when she wasn't on TV. It's fun, real, and easy to relate to. When she wasn't on the mic or in front of the cameras, her personal life also seemed to be getting better. She said it was true that she was dating Clifford Beaver, the owner of Our Place, a bar and grill in Orange County. As of May 2024, they were still together. Brandi even sent him a sweet birthday message on Instagram, along with some cute pictures of them together. The last new episode of Storage Wars played in August 2023, and since then, not much new had been on TV. But Brandi had something big planned. As of May 2025, she made it public that she would be starting her own podcast called The Real Reality with Brandi Passante. She told people about it on Instagram and a brand new account for the show, which had a nice promo picture and information about when it would be out. That wasn't all, though. At about the same time, A&E's YouTube page posted a teaser trailer confirming that Storage Wars would be back for a 16th season. It was hard to tell from the video. There were no cameos by the group, just a hint of what was to come. Fans didn't have to wait long, though. A few days later, Showbiz Junkies.com published a story saying that a number of fan favorites would be officially returning. Brandi was one of them, yes. It also seemed like she would play a bigger part this time, both on screen and maybe even behind the scenes. It looked like Brandi was going to make a full-on return.